The first show I ever went to was a band called The Damned, and I was, I think I was 13 years old, and it was at the Playhouse, the Edinburgh Playhouse, and I went with my neighbour who was 11, and there was, it was in 1984, and all these guys were fighting and just having a terrible time, and my mother came and picked me up, and we told her about all this, and she saw some of it, and she said, "That's it, James. You're never going to another gig in your life." And all I've done since then is gone to gigs, you know. When you look around the world today, when you see the situation that a lot of humanity are in, I mean, an obvious example would be the refugees. And you know, and they're nurses and doctors and shopkeepers and writers and everything. But in amongst all those, there's musicians. Musicians just like me, except some of them are probably a heck of a lot more talented, you know. If you're lucky enough to be in a country like this where you can actually do music, it's almost an insult to those people not to be doing it. Because there's people amongst them who'd be given their back teeth to be playing a show at the Hub, you know, or anywhere in Edinburgh, just to be doing music for a living. Can you imagine doing something as beautiful and selfish as music for a living? You know, you're just having fun. You're being a dafty, really, doing music. You're just having fun. That's why it's called playing, because that's what you're doing. You're playing, you know. If you're doing music or art or anything like that, one has to look within oneself to get the best of the art, because, I mean, you could bring 25 or 100 of the world's best musicians in this room, and they'd all probably be better than me, but you know, I'd be the best one at being me. I'd be the best James Yorkston there, you know. So from that point of view, as an artist, one has to look within oneself and be selfish to bring out what is within, because that is the strongest thing there is. I'm no bagpipe player, you know. But the only thing that has made any sense to me at all is doing music. And it's funny now, as I get older, the musicians who are still doing music at my age become less and less, because people drop off. You know, in their 20s, people go and get jobs as chefs or in banks or whatever, you know. And as you get closer and closer, as you get older and older, the people you meet now who are your sort of age, my sort of age, you've got an instant affinity with them, because they're aware why you're doing this daft thing for a living, why you're spending most of your life on the motorway and or on an aeroplane or whatever, you know. And you don't need to explain why you're a musician. You don't need to explain, oh yeah, I'm kind of doing this, because it just makes absolute sense to other musicians. Because we always give it our all, you know, in all the tracks we do. But the first track we always try and open with something which has got a lot of energy and a lot of drive. So, you know, you're really going for it, you know, and so Hale's going, and we're all really giving it loudly. And then if you get to the end of it and it's just like, then you think, perhaps this audience not quite getting it. But then if you get the genuine enthusiasm, you know, if you get the whistles and the go-ons and that sort of stuff, then you know that they're up for a good time. And of course, as a band, you feed off that energy. Everything is sacrificed for the song. So if you've written lyrics, and sometimes you just have to cut out a really good verse or whatever, because it's got to be sacrificed for the strength of the song. So that song is the thing. But then, as they pile up, everything is sacrificed for the album. The album is the thing. So you can easily lose 3 or 4 of those things. So it's just a question of building the small and then building the big, you know. And personally, I write, building the small, I write the lyrics probably first, and then I come up with the melodies on the guitar. Or sometimes it's the other way around, but I very seldom sit down and write, today I'm gonna make a song about being interviewed in the Hub. Here it goes, oh, I was in the Hub, I'd rather be in the pub, oh, hell my bob, you know.